Hey student, watch this video and learn how to think fast, more quickly when speaking English. I'm going to share 3 tips and some exercises you can do in order to think more quickly when having conversations in English. So you stop thinking of your language and start thinking of answers in English, of what to say, of how to put your ideas together. So watch until the end. If you don't know me very well, hello, I'm Teacher Prix and I'm going to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. Make sure to subscribe to my channel because every week I post different kinds of English lessons to help you become a better and more confident English speaker. So I appreciate if you subscribe. That really helps the channel, or just smash that like button. But thinking in English, okay, how to think fast when speaking English. I'm going to share tips, and my recommendation before I even share the tips is apply the exercises for the next 21 days. And I'm going to explain why. And this video is not going to do any kind of miracle. You're going to be thinking naturally. We're no native speakers. I'm not American. I'm not a native speaker. So we don't naturally do this, but there are techniques we can practice to get better, to think fast. And that's what I want for you in this video, okay? Here on my channel, guys, this is a video for pre-intermediate, intermediate students, upper intermediate students who need a boost, who need to think more quickly, who need ideas to get out of this stuck zone. Maybe you're having a meeting with your boss and you're thinking too slowly. The idea of this video is to help you students at this level, okay? And guys, I know that for some of you, you may be struggling with your English speaking. And one thing that I'm going to recommend in this video is a solid speaking practice, whether you have company or not. So if you don't do this, you're not going to improve your English speaking. Don't wait until you finally have someone to practice your English speaking with. Okay, it may be too late. You may miss opportunities if you don't start practicing your English speaking alone. This is something that I do with my students in the academy. I teach them how to build a solo speaking routine. They need to establish this. They need to have this weekly practice, even if they are alone, and that helps them unlock their minds for English fluency. It helps them react more quickly, okay? Now, as I said at the beginning, follow the tips that I'm going to share for at least 21 days, okay? And why 21 days? There are studies that talk about this, okay? The formation of a habit. If you want to change something in your life, not only English, if you want to change something in your life, if you want to include something new in your life, you have to establish a habit. You have to be consistent and to notice change. Even if it's small, even, you need 21 days, okay? The complete formation of a habit is 66 days on average, okay? There's no perfection here, no perfect number. There were some scientific studies that show that a complete formation of a habit, and when your brain starts to think automatically of the thing you want to do, that takes about 66 days. However, in 21, you already notice drastic change, okay? That's why I recommend you follow these tips for at least 21 days. And as I said, this is not natural to us. Thinking quickly in a second language will not come naturally. Even after you form this habit, you will get super better at it, but you cannot stop. Okay, so to condition your brain, you need to nurture the habit of thinking and speaking in English. You have to be intentional with every practice you have, especially thinking and speaking. If you want to feel faster when talking to your colleagues in English, when having a meeting, when making a presentation, when answering the phone, you need to practice this. You need to be intentional in your study time, so that when you go to the real life, you deliver, okay? Now, as I said, repeating the cycle, 66 days, that's when your habit is completely formed on average, okay? There were studies that pointed this number, 66, 67 days. But in 21 days, if you're consistent, and I recommend you do it for 21 days straight, okay? Because that'll help you notice the difference. Okay, I'm telling you, I've done this a million times, so I know it works, okay? Now, guys, tip number 1, Treat your brain like a muscle that needs a daily workout to get stronger. So you need to think of your brain like a muscle, like your upper body, okay? Upper body, chest, back, arms. Maybe you don't go to the gym. You don't need to be an expert at exercising to understand this, but you need to understand your brain as a muscle. Treat your brain like a muscle. And right now, if you're thinking too slowly, and you are at a pre-intermediate or intermediate level, it means your brain is weak. That's the opposite of strong. It's not, it's, okay? So you need to teach your brain. You need to give it a daily dose of exercise. That's important. So if you've never gone to the gym, if you never go to the gym, and then you decide today, today I made the decision, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to work out my arms. Do you think it's going to be easy? Do you think it's going to be natural? No. I can tell you because I remember my first day at the gym, you know, when I was going to the gym in my hometown in the countryside. It's not natural. It's confusing. You don't know how to move. It's tough. And then after the exercise is over, you feel pain. You feel tired. You feel like quitting sometimes. You feel like this is not for me, you know? The same is going to happen to the brain. You never practice thinking in English. You never practice your English speaking alone. What is going to happen? You're going to be, oh my God, this isn't comfortable. This isn't, you will get stuck. The words will disappear. So you need to condition your brain. You need to be intentional with your practice. So you need to have a mental practice. Just as right now, I'm speaking in English, okay? After this, I will study English. Then I will have my speaking practice alone. I will do my speaking practice. I will do my exercises. Then I will also have my mental practice, having a conversation in my mind. And I will give you some ideas, okay? Stay with me until the end. And it doesn't have to be long. Start small, okay? At the beginning of this video, I told you it's important to be intentional with your practice. So set aside 5 to 10 minutes daily so you can teach your brain and remind your brain, hey, English time. Think, brain, think. And how are you going to do? Teacher, what can I think about? If you don't have a plan, and this is very important, if you don't have a plan of what to think about, you will get stuck. This exercise will be impossible for you to do. Okay? So you need to prepare questions. You need to prepare subjects. Before you sit down, and you start thinking, because it's here, it's in the mind. So you need to have questions for you to answer. Use Google, okay? With my students in my academy, they already have everything they need to practice their English, questions ready, subjects. But here, you have to do it alone, okay? I also have a study plan cycle. You should consider getting it. Link in the description, okay? It really teaches you how to organize your English study routine. It's very efficient. So you need to prepare before you start this 5-minute to 10-minute practice. You need to have some questions and then work on the mind, okay? Build. But teacher, but I need to speak. Yes, this is just tip number 1. Stay with me until the end, okay? Teacher, 5 minutes is too much. I started thinking of my language. I lost focus. I started thinking of a yellow cat. I'm lost. Okay? Bring it down a little. 3 minutes, 2 minutes. The idea is to teach. The idea is to make your brain stronger. And that may take a little time. It's natural. Respect your body. Respect your mind. Okay? Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Share this video with a friend. This may help some people who need to unlock their English. And if you're interested, in the description of this video, I have my study plan cycle that will help students who study alone organize their study routine so that they are efficient with their practice and with their time. And also my listening mastery workshop that teaches you the best practices to improve your listening comprehension. But let's move on. Tip number 2, practice speaking under pressure, especially if you study alone. Yesterday, with my students from my academy, I gave this exercise to them. I set a timer. I prepared a variety of questions, not easy, okay? Some questions that made my babies, I call my students babies, that made my babies think and think and think and fast, okay? And why the time? Because you cannot relax. You cannot let your brain relax. So you set a timer and you put it right in front of you, okay? Set a timer and you put in front of you 1 minute, and you cannot stop talking. The idea is you have to talk for 1 minute. You cannot stop. You stop when the alarm goes off. That's it. When the time's up. Okay, when the time's up, you stop. Oh, but I didn't finish. No, you stop. And then you go to the next question. Oh, but the answer was not perfect. The answer was not. No. Next question. This exercise is not for you to go back. Oh, let me answer the question again. Oh, let me try again. Oh, let me pick a different question. No. This exercise is to practice, is to show your brain a scenario of pressure. I ask you a question, you have a minute to give your best. Go, set a timer and do it, okay? One tip is, if you want to check what you did so that you can study and improve, record yourself. And after you finish this practice, listen to your answers and pay attention to the moments you stop, the moments you were, the words you didn't know, okay? Because this will help you prepare yourself next time and use the supporting skills, vocabulary you need to study, grammar you need to study, these things that you need to study so that you can improve your English, okay? This is one kind of practice. So the idea is to present your brain with pressure, enough pressure so that you can work on your English speaking, okay? And teach your brain to go fast, okay? To react. You don't have time, you have a minute, go. Okay? Oh, but it's easier when I am alone. I'm telling you, it's hard. Even when you are alone. I did this with my students. I show them it's a challenge. But the more difficult the question is, the more you will identify what needs work, what needs to be changed. That's why this exercise is so useful, especially to students who don't have a teacher, who are completely alone. Okay? So pick 7 questions, 5 to 7 questions, and answer them daily. Practice this for the next 21 days. Telling you, it's good. Teacher, I don't know what questions to pick. Well, go on the internet, find questions. Okay, if you don't have a program like mine, if you're not in my academy, if you don't have a study plan cycle, then you have to search. You have to do your part. I'm giving you these strategies. Now you have to implement them, okay? So this is the idea is to deal with the pressure of not stopping. You can't stop. Okay, oh, but what if I stop? The idea is not to stop. The idea is to keep going and keep going. And this is an oral, okay? This is speaking. It's not in the mind. You have to speak, okay? Not reading. No, this is not a reading exercise. This is not a writing exercise. This is a speaking exercise, okay? And finally, tip number 3, make it harder for you to answer a question. If you always, let's say you go back to tip number 2 and you pick very easy questions. Oh, when was the last time you had sushi? What is your favorite sport? You know? Oh, who is your best friend? Oh, what do you do in the morning? You will not get better. You need to add pressure. And how do you add even more pressure? By making the questions more difficult. So I want you to pick at least one. Let's not put so much pressure, otherwise you're going to feel bad, okay? Pick at least one question per day for the next 21 days. So here in tip number 2, I told you pick 5 to 7 questions. In this list, one question should be very difficult, okay? And when I say very difficult, guys, some people misunderstand what I mean by very difficult. I'm not saying that it has to be impossible to answer or something complex, something historical, or in terms of geography, math. No, something that requires more thinking. Okay, that's the idea. I created some questions here to give you a better understanding of what I mean. So what are the pros and cons of having your own business? So here you have to think of advantages and disadvantages of having a business. Teacher, but I never talked about this. Awesome. Now you have to talk about it. Teacher, I don't know. Read about this. Google, study, read information. Sometimes a question becomes difficult because you are not familiar with the subject. I have my own business. I know the pros and cons of having my own business. This would be easy for me. but may not be easy for you. So this is the level of question that I'm talking about, not something too simple, okay? Question number 2, what kind of behavior must not be tolerated in the workplace? What kind of attitude, what kind of behavior, in your opinion, should not be tolerated in a work environment? It makes you think of a different subject. You want to advance, you want to be fluent, you want to talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Well, you got to start asking more difficult questions. Number 3, should parents let their kids use cell phones? Why not? Is the use of cell phone at an early age harmful? What do you think? Oh, okay. These questions, guys, what is my idea with these questions? They're not very objective. Oh, what's your favorite meal? Oh, pasta, breakfast, dinner. Oh, my favorite restaurant. No, it's more complex. It's more open. You have to think more. And this will help you think faster. It may not be the case at the beginning because you're not used to it, but in the long run, it'll help you think more quickly. That's my goal, okay? Now, how often? Do this for the next 21 days daily, okay? Follow these recommendations daily. All of the tips that I shared are tips you put into practice. You act on them. They're not just for you to see, oh, that's nice. No, you have to put them into practice, okay? So for the next 21 days. But to form the habit of thinking in English, thinking more quickly, at least 66 days. But does that mean you stop after 66 days? No, you continue. And the more you continue with this practice, the more you strengthen your brain, the more you make it react more quickly, think more fast. Excuse me, think faster. I was not going to say more, but then I got confused. Think faster in a conversation, okay? See, I made a mistake now, but I quickly corrected. In my brain, my correction came in English. I was like, oh, no, you don't say more fast, you say faster. I have a very strong mental conversation, a very strong mental dialogue in my head. But I have been practicing this for 20 years. Wow. So I think very quickly nowadays. I even dream in English. I have dreams in English. Sometimes I accidentally answer people in English on the street when I'm walking in because I'm thinking in English. So your reaction gets quicker when you never stop practicing, okay? Now, moving on to the next one. Common challenges. You will get distracted when thinking in English, okay? It's natural. Don't be upset like, oh, I started thinking, but then I remembered breakfast, and then I remembered the bills I had to pay. I remembered I had a doctor's appointment. This will happen to all of us. We're human beings. That's why it's important to keep practicing. So when this happens, don't be angry. Oh, damn it. No. Breathe. Identify this moment. Okay, I understand, I accept, and go back to the practice. Don't overreact, okay? Number 2, your mental sentences may be rather short as well as your oral ones. This practice takes consistency. You will only be able to speak and think faster if you commit to the routine. So at first, when you start, maybe the first cycle of 21 days, you will make really short sentences. You will not be able to think of something very long. It's natural. You have to keep teaching your brain. You have to be patient. If you want better results, you have to be very committed. Okay, this is with everything in life. There will be words you won't know. Take notes, learn how to say them in English and keep working. This is also very natural. Oh, but teacher, I was thinking in English and then there was a word I didn't know. Oh no, that means you're normal, human being, okay? Completely natural. I always tell on my channel that I'm not in favor of translating things all the time. And I stand by what I say. In this case, however, it is different. I am practicing my English. I don't know a word, and I need to learn this word eventually, so you can search. And I'm not saying about phrases. Never search for phrases, translation of sentences, because you make your brain even slower when you do that, okay? You will slow down your brain even more when you search for entire translation, okay? The entire translation of a sentence. So if you don't know a word, let's say you don't know how to say this in English. I don't know how to say this. Well, you can Google this unique word. I don't know this verb. Okay, fine. But don't translate everything you study. Don't use translation as the way to study. That's what I'm not in favor of, okay? And finally, you may need inspiration. So read more in English, listen more in English about subjects that you can later talk about. So for example, when I asked the question, the example of the question, what are the pros and cons of having your own business? Maybe this is something you're not familiar with. Maybe you are a stay-at-home mom. You take care of your kids. You never thought about business. So this may be out of your comfort zone. So search for inspiration, read something about it, watch something about it, and that will help your brain think more quickly. Because oftentimes your brain doesn't think fast because you don't know anything about the subject. So as a result, you slow down. Okay, so this is important. Oh, but teacher, my work, I know my work. Yeah, but you may know your work in your language, not in English. So start searching for things about your work in English. That's also very important. I hope you enjoyed this video. Get my study plan cycle, but you can help the channel a lot by sharing this video. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye!